Hey, what's up guys, it's Thrasher, and today I got a story about the time I saved my friend's life camping on acid. This story takes place April of this year. Me and my friends were on spring break, so we went camping for a weekend. We got to camp, and me and Walks kind of separated from the group a little bit and dropped the tabs, like without them knowing, just to see how long we could go without them figuring out that we were on acid. So we drop the tabs and we go back to our group of friends and start setting up our camp, and just have a few brews, smoking while we're setting it up, all that fun stuff. About 30 or so minutes after camp is set up, my friend we'll call Braxton looks up at the mountain that we're next to and is like, "We need to climb that immediately." And it's a pretty steep mountain. It wasn't an easy climb. But I wasn't having any visuals yet. It was a good body feeling, like an energizing body feeling. When you take a tab and you just want to do anything and everything. So I was just like, down as fuck, now. And then I started running towards the mountain. Braxton books it ahead of me and then just starts running up this mountain. And I'm just trailing after him because I feel brain dead a little bit from the tab. I just kind of was retracing and following his steps throughout this mountain so I wouldn't get lost, or otherwise I knew I wouldn't be able to climb this thing without a guide. And so we're climbing, and about halfway up this mountain I get my first visual. I look down at the gravel underneath me and it's kind of flowing the way a river flows. So we keep climbing up this mountain and we get to our first stopping point. There's just this giant rock that's just stationed into the mountain, and so you can just stand up and look out into the valley and whatever. And so the two mountains on the left and right side were kind of twirling inward as if they were gears, giant gears, and it was really cool. But other than that, I didn't really see much. So me and Braxton are at this rock just waiting for the rest of the people to get up. And then eventually everyone does. So Braxton just takes off running more upward. And so I'm just right behind him, booking it with him. And we get really fucking high. I'd say at least 100 feet. It was a good sized climb. And we get up to the second part, and there's just more rocks to just kind of chill and sit by. And it was even cooler of a view, even higher up. Anyway, we start climbing back down, and I'd say the last maybe 30 steps, Braxton just started booking it down the mountain. We were kind of near to the ground, so if we fell at this point, nothing crazy would happen. But he just starts booking it down, and so I chase after him, just because I got all that energy in me. And I chase after him, and I'm doing so good. I'm running down this mountain just fine. And then the last step, I overstep and kind of stumble and fucking eat shit. Face full of dirt. I'm pissed. I'm like, are you kidding me? I ran up this mountain and down this mountain, and the last step is when I eat shit. I was thankful in a way, but also really? The last step? I could have done a flawless run through. Are you joking? Anyway, we get down the mountain and we're just chilling around the campfire. It's not really nighttime or anything, but it was kind of chilly. So we're just chilling around the campfire, just talking, drinking, smoking a little bit. And then I don't really remember much else of what we were doing. It was just kind of boring. But after a good minute, when it started getting darker, we were all we need to hotbox the tent. This is something that just needs to happen. We go into the tent and we're passing around joints and dabs and just everything is going around. You genuinely can't see 2 feet in front of you because of how smoky and how cloudy it is within this tent. And after a minute, my visuals started getting really intense, and I couldn't see anybody's facial features through the fog, but I could see their auras, and they were all laughing at me. I know they weren't, but it felt, and I saw that their auras were popping out of the smoke at me and just laughing at me, making fun of me almost. And I just started getting a little stressed out. I was just I'm not the biggest fan of this. This isn't really cool. And so I'm like, whatever, it's fine, and I'll just take some deep breaths. It's so much smoke in there that you inhale a deep breath and you get higher. So just just deep breaths, and I'm getting higher and higher, and the faces are getting more intense and laughing at me even harder, and I'm freaking out even more. And so I turn to my buddy to the right, and I'm like, hey, can you please open the tent for me? Like, I gotta leave. And he like drunkenly says like, no, bro, you're gonna ruin the hot box. And like, so I just told him, listen, bro, I apologize. I'm so sorry for destroying your hot box, but I'm going mentally insane. I need to leave, bro. Visual is not visual and correct. And he just like apologized profusely, like, my bad, bro, my bad. I forgot you were on Sykes, and just like opened the tent, and I just dipped, like I like jumped out of the tent. I took a deep breath of fresh air, and I was completely fine. So I whipped out my phone, turned around, and took a picture of all the smoke leaving the tent. Badass picture. I also forgot to mention that within the hotbox, Jules' girlfriend had a notebook for when me and Walks were drawing, and at this point, still no one knew. So while the shit was getting passed around in like the hotbox, I just started scribbling and like drew whatever the scribbles looked like to me at that moment, you know? And ended up drawing like a guy with like a bag over his head with X's over his eyes and like a stitched mouth. That's when kind of everyone figured out that we were tripping, because like I drew that and they all like kind of inspected it, raised their eyebrows, and were like, are you tripping? And I was like, took you guys long enough to figure it out. I scaled the mountain tripping. And they're like, holy shit, you've been tripping for a minute. And I was like, I've been tripping. And it just had a good laugh over it. And then that's when I kind of like just started freaking out afterwards, like maybe like 10 minutes afterwards or so. But anyway, after Hotbox, after everything, we're all just talking around the campfire, chilling, having a few more brews, whatever it was at that moment, you know? You're just vibing, just chilling. Then all of a sudden, like, I don't remember what I was doing or who I was talking to, but I was so brain dead. Like, I genuinely could only relate it to having the mind of a 3-year-old. I could not speak coherent sentences, and every time someone talked to me, it was like I just barely learned the English language, so like a lot of the words just wouldn't stick to me, you know? Like, I just couldn't comprehend them. I don't remember what I was doing, but I just remember out the corner of my eye, my friend Flossie made kind of like a weird face, you know, like kind of a choking face, but I didn't see it as a choking face. I couldn't comprehend that it was a choking face, you know, and I just kind of like laughed it off and didn't really think anything of it, because Flossie's really known for being exaggerated and funny, you know, but I just kind of kept like my eye on him, like he was in my peripheral. Then all of a sudden, he just made this face that was clear it wasn't acting. Like, just a face that was so exaggerated, and, like, there was just no way it could have been acted, you know? And so, out the corner of my eye, I see Flossie. And as soon as he makes that face, everything in my vision is just focused on him, and my vision zooms in on him, and everything is like a red filter with like a slight suspense sound, just signifying that it's danger. And I don't know what's going on. My brain can't comprehend anything, but my body goes on autopilot mode, and I go around and perform one Heimlich maneuver, just like one pump, just boop. And then Jules calls my name, is like, Thrasher, come here. And so, like, not even knowing what just happened, I just walk over to Jules like, yo, what's up? And just, like, kind of kneel down. He's talking to me. I don't remember what he says. And after a minute, I just hear Flossie like, oh, my God, did no one see that? Thrasher literally just saved my life. And I turn around, I'm like, what? Like, I have no idea. Like, what? Really? And he's over here like, yeah. And he just starts telling the story. And I'm like sitting there like listening, intrigued, because I don't even remember doing this, right? Like, I couldn't comprehend what just happened. Like, I just didn't know what happened. So he's like, yeah, I was eating these 4 fruit snacks that were melted together. And, like, I swallowed early and it just got lodged in my throat and I couldn't breathe. Things were going black. And I'm, like, stressing out and just freaking out. And then Thrasher just comes behind me and just does a Heimlich remover just once and then walks away. And then, like, everyone's like, what the fuck? And, like, Jules is like, no way, bro. And I'm like, that's what I'm saying. I didn't even know I did that. I'm not just as surprised as all of you guys. And so after that, like, I genuinely just felt like God. Because, like, I'm so brain dead and out of my mind. And I just feel like God himself. Anyway, after that, it was just a really chill time, you know. We ended up playing like Ghost in the Graveyards when it got really dark, and I was brain dead, couldn't really comprehend, just tag teamed with Jules, and we just like, it It was a really good time though. It was really fun. It wasn't really a visually intensive trip, but I remember I wasn't able to sleep. So like when everyone went to bed, I was the one who just kind of sat there and just literally I just watched the log just deteriorate, disintegrate into nothingness from the coals. And I genuinely watched it and just around my chair grabbed little sticks to keep the fire small just around the log until the log was no more than ash. And I have pictures from like different moments that the log was in because I was just in a photography kind of mindset. I took some really cool pictures. But that really wraps up the story. Like, it was just a crazy experience. It was a good weekend. Like, it was just one good trip too, where I just saved my friend's life, like unintentionally saved my friend's life. Like, that sounds terrible, but like that's genuinely what it was. But anyway, if you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like. Also check out my TikTok. That's where you'll find like little comedy videos, and like that's where I post like sneak peeks to upcoming music and stuff, and you'll find all sorts of stuff there. But yeah, go check out my music, like my shit, comment on my shit, subscribe to my shit, follow my other shit. Links to all socials as always in the description. And anyway, thanks for watching. Doses. Sedimentifine, I sedimentifine. He said he was clean, I believed it. Tell he lean right up in the start shaking. And about to fall, who should I call? He popped another bean, then he poured another drink. He started to scream, he was in need and in pride of all the drugs he took that night. I saw, and what a scary sight. He silly Billy popped and really dealing with the monster. Reading anything you see between the seas, searching his weak mind, thinking no time lagging on no Wi-Fi bagging.